Mardukite TV.
Greetings, my name is Joshua Free. This is episode 3 of our Mardukite TV 10th anniversary reboot on YouTube. This series is dedicated to exploring the New Thought movement known as the Mardukites, and specifically to reintroduce a new generation of truth seekers to the source book of our Babylonian Mardukite tradition, which is available as Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible. And as of October 30th this year, it'll be available in this 10th anniversary collector's edition hardcover, and it's the complete tablet library archives of the Mardukite Chamberlains, as developed during our first active year under this guise as the Mardukites, and becoming an amazing underground contribution to the New Age over the past decade. In the first couple episodes here, we're mainly concerned with defining clearly the parameters of what Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible, our selection of this title to represent the core of the Mardukite materials, what it is and what it isn't. This is important before proceeding further for several reasons. People in general seem to think they have pretty much have a handle on what's going on in existence. And the topic of the Necronomicon or the Anunnaki, for example, this is not an exception. People believe they know what they know about any given topic, and they base that on their own perceived experience. They continue to validate things from within that knowledge, and things continue to be real within that experience. That's reality. That's what you perceive to be real, meaning that your way of perceiving the world will continue to conform to your beliefs about your world, as has been proven time and time again. This is why it's harder to change our mindset as we get older. We get used to things being a certain way and accepting them for what they are. And so some people innately seem to understand that there's energetic currents that exist within all things, whether they're living or not. Energetic vibrations, movement, potential. And that you're only experiencing in the physical world the most condensed levels of these energies, but that there are many other forms. And it's difficult to put into semantics and terminology all of that stuff that exists beyond or in the other, and make sure that what we are relaying as communication, either in speaking on these videos or in the books, that the information is being relayed one-to-one, that the words that are being said have the meaning intended, and that we are not just assuming that we already know what we're dealing with. That's the whole point of learning. That's the reason why we are truth-seeking. And for example, the Necronomicon, or the Anunnaki, or Sumerians, the idea of pre-Christian, quote-unquote pagan traditions. Depending on your pre-existing beliefs about these words and your real experiences, what you've deemed to be real, you're going to have certain reactions to phenomenon, to the information, whether it's positive or negative, and this colors our ability to see and understand truth for what it is. We can only see to the limitations of our understanding, and we collapse all of our experiences within that. So the reactions and our beliefs and the way we're perceiving certain things, certain information, is not always one-to-one with the actual message or what is actually taking place. So truth-seeking is about a self-honest reflection, a self-honest look at what is actually real, both in history and all around us, what that means for us today, and what that means for us in charting a future. As many have suspected, there is a certain degree of esoterica, cultism, hidden hidden and forbidden information deeply inlaid within the text of the most ancient writings on the planet, which we collect in our Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible. And the esoteric mysteries, the secrets, we're going to call them that, these are not so much written verbal secrets. They can be discovered in writing and within the texts throughout cuneiform tablets and the Hermetic mysteries as they unfold beyond Mesopotamia and Egypt and Greece. But it is not the memorization of some words that brings a realization, or that grants power, or that actually builds any type of personal authority with the universal forces in exercising them. It is only through practice and through deep understanding. And so it's important, before even getting into the text verbatim, the actual tablet cycles and mythic sagas that are relayed, to understand these esoteric principles, to understand the foundations of Hermetic philosophy that are actually embedded within them. It is not, for example, revealing a secret out in front, because a deeper understanding of these things takes place and unfolds as a person goes further and further into the mysteries. For example, the basic axiom, as above, so below. This has become so commonplace now in the New Age. This is, what does it even mean? As within, so without, the universe, so the soul. This has become a thing where, just like thinking outside the box, out of the box thinking is no longer out of the box. These have become cliche statements, and yet they were at one time part of the secret doctrines of the cosmos, the esoteric mysteries and arcane teachings. So to understand these principles, going into the work, going into the research, going into a understanding of the ancient writings, it will help them unfold, seeing these writings for what they really are, and not just a collection of stories or a list of kings or something that was meant for political propaganda to motivate a nation. There is a deeply laden mystery tradition within it, and that is what the ancient mystery school represents. That is what the Mardukites have been pursuing for the last decade, and relaying the work in published forms from the research organization and its different groups within that, groups within groups, all working on different aspects. So other principles going into this, that self-realization really begins with detachment from things, systems, beliefs, dead memories. It is virtually impossible to really embark upon new things, to understand all of this for what it really is, when we carry with us a lot of dead memories and old beliefs. And a lot of these beliefs being handed down to us through generations of misinformation. And this is something that has to be shed in order to really gain any kind of freedom, not only of on an intellectual level of understanding this information, understanding the truth about the origins of systems, whether they be religious, political, racial, ethnic, cultural, all across time, all across the globe. We have to be freed to pursue this and not be limited to a secular and contemporary world. And this is a very individual pursuit. We do have an organization that has dealt with the research and the material, that governs and directs a lot of the work that's publicly branded as Mardukite, but the work itself is actually an individual pursuit and an individual quest of the fusion with the all, fusion with the source of all being, all creation, and the truth that has been shielded from us for thousands of years as to what the nature of all this is, what the nature of our past and the source and how these things came to be. This is critical information for personal development, spiritually, intellectually, and also for the plotting of the course of humanity in the future. In 2009, I began releasing what we called the Mardukite Necronomicon cycle of literature, and it was several installments, all of which are now collected with the Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible. And it was not only an essential reading and a project of research and development for the Mardukite Chamberlains at the time, but what ended up resulting, this Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible, this incredible collection as an anthology, it's even beyond the specific paradigm of Mesopotamia and the Mardukites. It really is a must-read for anyone considering themselves a truth seeker. It's an intriguing and refreshing approach to what has really been forgotten lore. And the organization spent years painstakingly researching it in a way that is very unique in its blend of the anthropological and the historical, but then also the mystical and the spiritual side to actually nourish, the spirit. And at the time, when the Mardukites founded, I've now been involved with the underground New Age movement actively for almost 25 years. At the time, the Mardukite movement and its inception had resulted from virtually a 15-year journey, but primarily into the sources of New Age metaphysical, the metaphysical movement in the New Age that people were so kind of carelessly throwing around. There's a lot of revivals, a lot of interest in a lot of ancient cultures, but then at the same time, there was a stopping point. European cultures seemed to be accessible, the classical world, even Egypt to a certain degree, although often misrepresented or misunderstood, but for political reasons and warfare, and also the bastardization of it through Judeo-Christian beliefs and even the Simon Necronomicon. It's the Mesopotamian tradition, the Mardukite tradition of Babylon, the mysteries of the Sumerian Anunnaki. All of this has been mostly inaccessible, especially from a practical approach, aside from Assyriology, a few universities that specialize at that in the United States. But most of the information has remained at a very scholarly and academic level, and in a time when it seems we're seeing a lot of revivals, practical mysticism, spirituality, ancient religions, and even the sources of modern traditions, the influence that this tradition had on other more popular and better known traditions, even the Judeo-Christian traditions in the Bible, the Old Testament, the things that are taking place now on the History Channel, and all these new interests in these ancient discoveries, forbidden archaeology, even quote-unquote ancient aliens, all of this stuff. It's a time when we need to be able to access the Mesopotamian lore, and understanding the nature of the information that is being presented there, which is so quite often overlooked in contemporary education. even Egypt for that matter. But very few people really have any kind of understanding of Mesopotamia, Sumerians, Babylonians, with the exception of what they maybe has trickled through from biblical accounts or any kind of pop culture references. So what we are trying to do is bring people back to a pure and self-honest understanding of something that is not otherwise very accessible. As we continue our series, I would like to invite you to order your own copy of Necronomicon, the Anunnaki Bible. It will be available on October 30th, 2018. You can pre-order yours now, but it's our 10th anniversary collector's edition hardcover, and this includes the complete, revised, and updated 7/8th edition of this amazing work, and presenting it to the world in hardcover for the first time in its entirety. This is a significant expansion from the specifically Liber N material that was once released in hardcover back in 2009. So this includes a lot more material and will be available October 30th in hardcover, and sometime probably around the Akitu or Beltane festivals of 2019 in paperback, along with its companion piece, the anthology that actually follows up this material to complete the Mardukite Core, called Gates of the Necronomicon, which will be coming out in mid to late 2019 in its collector's edition hardcover format as well.
Mardukite TV.